The extremely talented young star of sitcoms Blackish and Grownish, Yara, I knew I was going to mess it up, Yara Shahidi, thank you, is on the big screen now in The Sun Is Also a Star, playing a student whose chance at love is being torn apart for a reason too many families can relate to right now. Take a look. Please welcome the fabulous Yara Shahidi. So in addition to this film and starring on 2 hit TV shows, you've been called the voice of Gen X, our future president, the face of young Hollywood, a role model, and a style icon. Wow. Any pressure in that?
Fortunately, no. I've been really gosh darn lucky to have a group of people who support me for being Yara. And I think the way my family operates is just impact over legacy, and so the title doesn't matter too much.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yep. That's the way to do it, baby.
So you are very politically involved, I understand. Mm-hmm. And you will be voting for the first time in 2020?
Yeah, my first presidential election. I voted in primaries and midterms.
Oh, yeah. You did?
Yes.
So what are you looking for in the candidates?
Well, there is an abundance of candidates
on the Democratic side.
And I think right now there's not too much to say, like, in terms of, like, this is the one criterion, but I think, honestly, what a lot of my generation is looking for is that, I mean, we're dealing with candidates who have a long political history and some things that we just genuinely don't agree with. And so seeing how they decide to recounsel those things, and it's not so much that we have to hold them accountable for something that happened years and years ago, but how do we quantify or measure that there's actual change that's been made?
Do you believe them when they say, I don't believe that anymore, I don't do that anymore?
Well, I think it depends on really the actions, and so I can't say that I definitively do or don't, but
it's just have to wait for the actions, though.
Right,
so
and
it's a gamble.
But it's been interesting to see because I think so many of my peers are politically inclined, and so it has been a group effort to say or figure out that as a generation, what matters to us in terms of protecting our community, in terms of moving forward, what's going to be really most influential, especially because Gen Z is going to be a young adult. So this is really
What's your number one issue?
My number one, you can't, I think that's the other thing, you can't prioritize. Being at the intersection of so many identities, I feel like it's been of the utmost importance that if you're considering your larger community, that you cannot prioritize one issue over the other.
But you would never sit out.
No, I personally do not sit out because it's the reality that we operate within a political system.
Right.
And so I've been grateful enough to be given the privilege and time to invest in my own knowledge of our political system, and because I have the time to do so, and fortunately don't have an hourly job and families that can drive me to the polls, I'm gonna take the opportunity.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter Paloma has big hair, and you sent her a video.
We traded tips last time.
Yes, we traded tips last time, and you sent her a video about hair care, and I thank you for that. And you recently said your hair constantly serves as a reminder that you deserve to take up space.
Yeah.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, I think there are times in which, I mean, my hair's up right now, but it's usually about a circumference like that.
Yeah.
And there are times in which I don't feel like taking up so much space. I feel like we constantly are operating within circles that it feels like it's not meant for us, spaces where it's like, well, do I belong here? And what I love about my curls, and because I've been raised in a family in which we've always celebrated every single texture, hair takes up that space for me. And you almost operate backwards, and you gain the confidence by just saying, well, I deserve to be here, and I am being seen because of just, you can't not see me. So now just finding that sense of inner belonging.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Well, I love this. In celebration of Barbie's 60th anniversary, they made a line of dolls in likeness of 20 different role models, and one of them is you. Yeah. And it's a beautiful Barbie.
I need it.
Yes.
My boat shirt.
I need it.
What does it feel like having your own Barbie?
It was really surreal because that wasn't even something that I thought I should be thinking about as like something to check off. But I feel like the greatest honor was just like the other role models. There are people that I genuinely look up to before this collection was even an idea. Like Ibtihaj Muhammad has a Barbie, and she has been a personal inspiration to me ever since I've met her. And
fencer.
found out, yes. Yeah. Incredible fencer. She not only has a fashion line and is doing so much in terms of representation, but it's just an amazing, kind human. So to think that I could have a Barbie in the same group that she has a Barbie, I'm like, okay.
Amazing. Your character meets someone 24 hours before her family is being deported to Jamaica, and you've said the immigration storyline was a big factor for you in taking this role. Why is that?
Well, both Charles and I, so Charles, who plays Daniel, we both come from families shaped by immigration. We're first generation on different parents' sides. And so I know the reality of being of a country that was on a travel ban. And even though I can't claim...
Your father's Iranian.
Yes, my father's Iranian. And so even though I can't claim the particularities of Natasha's story, I think it's a reality that we deal with on a regular basis. We hear the stories about deportations and family separation. We understand that for so many of us, these are the stories of our friends, our families, our peers, and our greater community. And so to be able to bring this on screen in something that centers and focuses on love was important to us, because I feel like it was able, you couldn't take the humanity out of the character, out of this issue of immigration.
Yeah.
Had you read the book?
Yes, because I believe books are sacred, so you have to read the book first.
Right. Well, this movie is also about love at first sight.
Yes.
And I heard you believe in love at first sight because
do.
of your parents.
I mean, I really hate to brag, guys. Like, my parents are 24 years in, but they met. So when my mother first saw my father, she was like, oh my goodness, that's my husband.
Yep.
Broke up with her boyfriend that night. You gotta make room, clear space. She's being proactive. They didn't even talk that night.
Wow.
They ended up talking maybe like a month later. I have friends of hers that I've met who like confirm the story, that they helped her go through the phone book. And finally, when I got on the phone, he's like, well, of course I remember you, and like told her, like recited everything that she was wearing that night. And you know, now there's 3 little Shahidi kids. And
Amazing.
And just so you know, a phone book is...
Flip through.
That used to be, it's about that big, that thick.
I don't miss that
And
phone
you used to be able to go through the phone book and look people up. You actually had to
really
do
thin
the work.
pages.
Thin paper pages, teeny tiny writing, but if you were looking for somebody, you knew what you had to do. It's kind of fabulous.
she was looking.
Good riddance to that big, heavy thing. Who needed it?
Well, I like paper. You know, I like paper. So, Yara, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank
it's
you.
always
Happy
a
to be
pleasure.
back.
So proud of you. So our thanks to Yara Shahidi. Her new movie, The Sun Is Also a Star, is in theaters May 17th. And we, of course, we'll be right back.
Ashley Home Store's Memorial Day sale is going on now. Don't miss summer's hottest deals. Buy today and save up to 30% or get 0% interest for 6 whole years.